once in a while there comes along a sequel which is so damn good, so accomplished, that it actually blows away the original and eclipses it entirely. The movie I'm talking about today, Demons 2, isn't that kind of a movie. Demons 2 isn't mind-blowing, but it's a fun ride all the same. This is Alex with Trashfilmatic. I'm talking about Lamberto Bava's film Demons 2 from 1987, so sit back, get comfortable, let's dig into Demons 2. Lamberto Bava is a prolific filmmaker with like 50 years in the business and at least 30 feature film productions under his belt. His career origins go back all the way to early 1960s with his legendary father Mario Bava. Lamberto Bava is mainly known in his native Italy for a number of fantasy TV movies, TV serials. He's made a number of kids fantasy and adventure movies, but originally Lamberto Bava was a cinema director, and in the early to mid 1980s he's put out a number of horror movies made for the big screen, and among these undoubtedly the most celebrated and internationally best known ones are the two Demons movies produced by Dario Argento. The first Demons came out in 1985, and the movie tells a story of monsters who burst out of a cinema screen and attack people inside this large movie house, this large cinema. And there is a demon infestation going on, eventually taking over the entire city. Demons was a success internationally. A number of countries bought it for distribution. So Lamberto Bava and Dario Argento quickly teamed up to roll out a sequel which came out barely 2 years later in 1987. That was Demons 2. It's actually quite rare for Italian genre films to make direct sequels to their own movies. Like the Italians are famous for making fake sequels. There was an Italian Terminator 2, there was an Italian Dawn of the Dead 2, known as Zombie 2 or Zombie. So they used to like to make fake sequels to cash in on better known USA movies, but somehow they didn't believe in their own product. So even if one of these rip-offs was a success, there was no direct follow-up usually. The producers, the directors just didn't believe in that. So if you think about legendary Italian horror films, Suspiria, The Beyond, they never got a direct sequel with a number 2 in it. There is no Suspiria 2. Demons 2 is a virtual remake of the first movie. It repeats a lot of the key situations, and this is both the good and the terrible thing about it, because it repeats the formula so mechanically. Some people will love it, some people will hate it. The big difference being in the first movie, the demons came out the cinema screen, and in the second, there is a demon who pops through TV set screen. This amazing visual from Demons 2 is really stylish, and even though it replicates a similar moment from David Cronenberg's Videodrome, it's still a really cool visual. The first movie, Demons, had this a lot of expressive red light in it, so the movie had this copper and red glow to it in a lot of scenes, and the second movie has this stylized blue and cold white light, so that sets it apart from the first movie. There is a whole bunch of characters in the second movie. It's overpopulated with these poorly defined comic bookish characters who all happen to be inside this ultra-modern block of flats, this tower block. We're never really told where this takes place, but if you judge by the exteriors, it's supposed to be somewhere in Northern Europe. So there is a power cut, the building is cut off, you can't get out, you can't get in, so the people trapped inside have to fight the demons to save their lives, if they want to save their lives. Just like the first movie, Demons 2 doesn't really feature any internationally acclaimed actors. They couldn't even get like a faded star like Donald Pleasance, even for a cameo. There is nobody. So they definitely just cast the young unknown models or bit part actors to save on their salaries, and all the money instead went into creating the demons' effects and makeup. Demons 2, in comparison to the original movie, has a less outright kills and gore moments. There are not as many moments of beheadings or mutilations. There is still blood, but we don't see as many instances of like dismemberment or guts spilling out or anything like that. So the second movie, you could say it's slightly more tame in that respect, but there are still cool stunts, and demons have these horrible, ugly claws and teeth, and they kind of scratch people and leave these scratch marks, and thus infect their victims, who in turn become demons. Some of the cast members from the first film come back in the sequel, but not in the same roles. They play completely unrelated new characters, like Tony the pimp from the first film comes back as Hank the gym instructor in the new movie, in the second movie. So it's the Italian actor Bobby Rhodes, actor and stuntman Bobby Rhodes. So this is the cool thing about the Demons movies. It has that, it's a rare example of an Italian movie where a black person is actually in authority and commands white people. So that's very, very rare. If you think about all the thrillers and giallo movies, you never had a black protagonist, not once in any of them. And if you had black people, they were like subordinate, and that goes for pretty much any genre. And Demons is actually quite rare in that we have this kind of proletarian character and black. But when this crisis erupts, a lot of the nominal heroes, like the white boys and girls, they're actually like fretting about and unable to figure out how to fight. And it's up to this black guy to organize defense against the demons. But the thing is, with the Demons movies, we sadly don't really see like humans winning. So these movies always are kind of geared towards apocalypse and possible further sequels. So however well you defend yourself from demons, there is always a chance for another infestation. Like in the second film, even though most of the demons get wiped out with this explosion, with this gas explosion, then there is still another opportunity when there are cameras, like they're inside this TV studio and some TV cameras point at the dying demon, and so the dying demon gets filmed and has an opportunity to burst through the screen again. So there is always that motive of demons possibly coming back, but the second movie has a more optimistic finale compared to the original Demons. So what is it that makes Demons 2 such a fun movie? I mean, I actually prefer Demons 2 to the original, even though it has less gore. I just think it's a fun movie, and it's a happy movie. There is some ugly stuff in it. There is definitely some stupid and derivative stuff in it. But the general vibe, while definitely brainless, is positive. And there is a cheerfulness to this movie, which I really appreciate. I really dig it. So it's not a movie that has any political agenda. It doesn't have any message. It doesn't try and beat you over the head with any kind of deep meaning. It's just an agreeable way to spend like 85 minutes after work or before bed, or whenever you feel like watching something undemanding but just a trashy good fun. Demons 2 is a very, very good movie. Also for 1980s nostalgia, Demons 2 is a great sequel. We have a lot of those prerequisites of 1980s movies. Sweaty bodybuilders with mullets, girls in like tight like leotards and aerobics outfits, guys with like oily biceps, an amazing soundtrack compiled of some great, mainly British goth and new wave tracks of the period. I think the second movie has a more consistent soundtrack compared to the first one. I like them both in terms of music choices, but the second movie, I think the score, the Simon Boswell score really matches the film's atmosphere and goes well with the visuals. So music is really pretty amazing in Demons 2. I love the atmosphere of this building. There is this eerie aspect of those dimly lit corridors, and occasionally you see those demons' shadows on the walls, and the way demons are framed. Makeup is pretty amazing for 1980s movies, but also cinematography really helps enhance and makes those creatures kind of look scary, and there is some pretty good stunts as well. Like there is a pretty large battle in this garage in the basement beneath this building, where there is a standoff towards the end of the movie between the humans and the demons, and there is Molotov cocktails and people bashing demons and shooting demons, and demons kind of getting crushed by cars and somersaulting through the air, and there is also quite gory moments where demons start taking over and getting the upper hands over the humans. There is also a small cameo by Dario Argento's daughter, Asia Argento, who was like just a kid at the time. And the interesting thing is also how everybody in the building, regardless of their age or their social status, they all seem to be tuned in into this same channel, watching this strange, whether it's a documentary or a fiction recreation of the demon's invasion, we'll never know, but there is this narration, and they watch this group of teenagers walking through this forbidden zone until they encounter this perished demon, who they then unwittingly resuscitate by dropping some blood on it, letting some blood revive it, and this is how the demons are able to come back via this documentary into our world. Speaking of characters, Demons is really not a subtle movie. It's very, very cliched, and characters are very, very superficial, and it's all about their looks and their hairstyles, their padded jackets with large shoulder pads and heavy makeup. There is a general atmosphere of kind of mindless happiness, which I think today people maybe even be nostalgic in some ways for that kind of. In some ways, I guess Demons 2 is a capsule of a more carefree time when people didn't really think about the environment, and people didn't think about many concerns which are the bane of today's generation. My favorite scene in Demons 2, it has gotta be them running up the stairs. It kind of replicates the image we saw in the first film. It's kind of the demons with the glowing eyes, and they're running down the corridor, and you see their shadows projected onto the ceiling, and it's the image that was also used on the poster of the original movie, the first Demons movie. Another similarity between the two Demons films is this pointless subplot of some teens driving around. Like there were some punks in the first movie which kind of drove around in their stolen car until they ran into demons at the cinema. And in the second movie there is an identical bunch of guys and girls also driving around, except they never get to encounter demons, but they just crash their car into some other character's car, which is really odd, and it kind of closes off their narrative without them ever joining the main group of characters, and it adds about, I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes to the film's running time, and it's infuriating. There are also crappy scenes in Demons 2. I think the one I don't really think works is this little puppet demon, which seems to be a ripoff of Gremlins, and it looks like an ugly little papier-mâché frog, and it's voiced with this really squeaky, disgusting squeal, poorly animated puppet, which just looks really fake. And at some point this little demon has to jump, and you can just see how painfully awkward somebody pulls it on strings to make it look like it jumps. And when it runs, obviously it's not fully animated, so you don't really see its legs move. I'm not dissing the film, I just think this one scene could have been easily trimmed, because also the filmmakers try and disguise this pretty rubbish little monster by using stroboscopic lights. If you're gonna watch it at home on a projector, this is gonna really hurt your eyes. Both Demons movies are more about effects and general mood of over-the-top madness. They're not really about following a character's journey or anything. The second movie focuses on this kind of young family. So there's this handsome young guy with big biceps, and his a pregnant wife or girlfriend, and they're supposed to be the centerpiece of the movie somehow, but they're not because they're just so damn conventional. Now that some years have passed and I've gone back to it, I actually really think it's a better movie than the first one, mainly because I think mood and atmosphere in the second film are really strong and pronounced, and there are some great visuals. But both movies are definitely worth a watch, and they represent the last gasp of Italian handcrafted special effects horror, which would come to a complete close in 1994 with Michele Soavi's Cemetery Man. So that's what I think about Demons 2. It's a movie that's dear to my heart, despite its flaws. It also has a massive nostalgia value for me because I remember this movie back from VHS days. In fact, I actually reviewed my old VHS tape for the purposes of making this little video. So if you liked it, why don't you hit the like button and let me know your thoughts on Demons 2 in the comments. That was Alex with Trash Film Addict. Thanks a lot and bye-bye.